Good evening, welcome to the Greek Gods and Goddesses tour. I'm Dr. Paul Kiritsis, and today I'm going to be giving you a little exposition on the goddess standing here beside me, who is biting into the golden apple, and that is Aphrodite. Aphrodite is the Olympian goddess of love, sexuality, and beauty. In the Iliad, Homer puts forth the hypothesis that she is the progeny of Zeus and Dione, though in Hesiod's Theogony and most other poetic sources, she is introduced as the daughter of Uranos, the sky, and the sea. In fact, the etymological root of her name definitely attests to the latter. In Greek, Aphrodite means foam-born or foam-risen, alluding to her emanation from the foam of the sea. According to Hesiod, the youngest of the Titans, Cronus, conspired with his mother, Ea, to jettison his father, Uranos, from the ethereal realm for the incessant abhorrence he expressed towards his own children. One night, while the divine couple lay in bed making love, Cronus emerged from the dark with a razor-sharp sickle and emasculated him. The god's ichor, which is blood, spurted from the gaping wound and hit the earth directly below, giving birth to a horde of gruesome creatures. Of course, some of these were the Malian nymphs, the giants, and the dreaded Erinyes, or Furies. His genitals, on the other hand, fell into the sea and auto-generated a far more desirable being, the goddess Aphrodite. Most writers place the location of her birth just off Cyprus, although other Mediterranean isles like Kythera and Milos have also laid claim to being the birthplace of the love goddess. Foremost of her epithets are Kytheria and Kypris. Kytheria, of course, alludes to her birthplace in Kythera, and Kypris, her birthplace in Cyprus. Given that she is sovereign of the natural world, myrtles, doves, swans, sparrows, and horses are all sacred to her. In fact, she is frequently depicted being hauled across the sky in a dove-drawn chariot. Aphrodite is notoriously known for the plethora of love affairs she carries out with gods like the war-loving Ares, as well as handsome men like Anchises and Adonis. She is married to the god Hephaestus, who happens to be lame and frequently cheats on him. Aphrodite is undoubtedly a passionate and empathetic lover, yet all too often one finds her engaged in treachery, malice, and vindictiveness. In the judgment of Paris, she bribes the Trojan prince into giving her the golden apple by offering him the most beautiful woman in the world as his wife, Helen of Sparta. Her intimate involvement in the abduction of a princess who was already married to the king of Sparta, Menelaos, as well as her ample use of magical incantation to achieve what she wants, brands her as the foremost villain in Homer's Iliad. In any case, her invested interests are ample, and thus she makes a plethora of appearances during the length of the war. In one particular instance, she intervenes to defend her son Aeneas from an arrow thrown by the Greek hero Diomedes, and wears the consequences herself. Suffering a minor injury, she immediately absconds the battleground for the safety of Olympus. Elsewhere, she senses the precarious position of her mortal celebrant, Paris, and comes to his immediate aid, enveloping his body in ethereal mist before teleporting him back to his living quarters. Then, in an imperative attempt to reunite the lovers, she materializes before Helen in the guise of an old hag to instruct her of his whereabouts. Aphrodite is usually equated with the Latin Venus, the Egyptian Hathor, and the Babylonian Ishtar. The Homeric hymn spins such an enchanting impression of her. Golden crowned, beautiful, awesome Aphrodite is who I shall sing. She who possesses the heights of all sea-wet Cyprus, where Zephyrus swept her with his moist breath over the waves of the roaring sea in soft foam. In their circles of gold, the hours joyously received her and wrapped the ambrosial garments around her. On her immortal head they laid a crown of gold that was wonderfully made, and in the pierced lobes of her ears they hung flowers of copper from the mountains and precious gold. Round her delicate throat and her silvery breasts they fashioned necklaces of gold, which they, the gold-filleted hours, wear themselves when they go to the lovely dances of the gods in their father's house. And that concludes today's lesson. I will see you next time for our transcript on Apollo. See you then.